Hello guys, welcome to this new video. I hope you guys are doing well. In this video, we are going to discuss how to declare variable in Kotlin. In Kotlin, there are three ways to declare the variable. We can declare a variable with a var keyword, we can declare it using val keyword, or we can declare it using const val keyword. In Kotlin, we most important part is variables cannot be without initial value. So first, let's try to understand how to declare variable by using var or val type of declaration. So syntax to declare variable is first we have to define modifier. So modifier can be access modifier like private, public, protected, internal, or it can be let init as well. We are going to discuss about these in detail. Modifiers are optional. Modifiers are not required all the time. After modifier, we can use a word var or val. So there is a difference between var and val. We are going to discuss in depth about what is the difference between var and val type of declaration. So var or val keyword followed by variable name, followed by colon symbol, followed by data type, and equal to initial value. So in Kotlin, it is perfectly fine that you can ignore specifying the data type, and hence we have this declaration as well. In this declaration, you can see we have modifier followed by var keyword followed by variable name, and here we are not specifying the data type of a variable, but we are defining the initial value. So we can do it for var type of declarations, and we can also do it for val type of declarations. All right. So in Kotlin, there specifying the data type is optional. And there is one important terminology, important concept about it, type inference. So type inference is a mechanism by which Kotlin compiler automatically decides the data type of variable or expression or function return type, and without you explicitly specifying its type. So because of type inference, this makes the code cleaner, concise, and more readable. To understand this clearly, let's implement some code. Before that, let's quickly understand what is the difference between var and val. So when you declare a var type of variable, var type of variable are mutable. That is, once we declare variable of var type, its value can be changed at any time. Val variables. So val types of variables are immutable. That is, once we assign a value to a val type of variable, its value cannot be changed at all. So all val type of variables can be initialized at compile time or at runtime, but only once. So val type of variables, we can initialize those at compile time, or we can initialize those at runtime as well. All right. So, but only once. You cannot reassign these things. You cannot reassign values to a val type of variable. To understand this, let's write some code practically, and let's try to understand these two concepts. Let's go to Android Studio, which is already open in my case. I'm going to create a simple Kotlin file. Right click, new Kotlin class or file. I'm going to create it as a file. Let's define the main function. And here, as per our first syntax, so first syntax was modifier var variable name colon data type equal to initial value. So in this case, modifiers are optional at this moment. We don't need any modifier, so I can directly write var, for example, name equal to data type is string equal to value is equal to John. Var age of type integer equal to 27, for example. Var area equal area of type float equal to 34.90, or let's make it double. Var is present boolean equal to false. As I mentioned, we can reassign values of variable at any point. For example, here I can reassign the value to the name. For example, instead of John, I will name this as Mike. Then age, I'm reassigning it. Age is equal to 38, right? So values once assigned can be reassigned. We can change the values of var type of declaration. The next syntax was to declare variable without specifying the data type. So here I'm going to remove the data type. All right. So in this case, I'm going to declare a variable var product name equal to iPhone 16. Then var price equal to 1200 or 1199.99 or var user rating equal to 4.9, var is launched equal to true. Now based on the values that we have assigned, Kotlin compiler will automatically identify what is the type of this variable. This mechanism is called as type inference. So this variable product name will be identified as type of string variable. This variable price will be identified as a float type of variable. This variable will be identified as again double type of variable. Sorry, for price also it is going to be double type of variable. For is launched, it is going to be a boolean type of variable. So Kotlin has that ability. It can directly identify the data type, and this mechanism is called as type inference. Here let's try to print the value of name. So name is equal to $name and age is equal to $age. And as I discussed, we can reassign the value. Once we reassign the value, we can reassign. Let's verify if the value has changed or not. All right. So similarly, I can check it for other variables. For example, here println product name equal to $product name and price equal to $price. Similarly, I am going to reassign the value of product name. So product name equal to iPhone 17. Then the price of iPhone 17 is going to be, let's say, 499.99, and I'm going to print it again. So this will help us to understand if the value has changed or not. So var means variable, and it means that once you assign the value, you can reassign it as well. It's going to be mutable basically. Concept is very simple. So let's wait for compiler to compile, build and run the program. So here you can see initially the value of variable name was John and age was 37. Then we reassigned it to name to Mike and age to 38. And same is the case for product name and price variable. So this is about declaring var type of declaration and type inference. Type inference is not only limited to a variable initial value. If you have some function call, for example, I'm going to declare a variable random number equal to, there is an existing class in Kotlin, random dot next integer in the range 3000 to 4000. So this function is going to return us a value of type integer, and the type of this variable will be identified as a integer. And hover if you simply hover the uh, mouse pointer on that variable name, you can see that compiler has treated or considered it as an int type of variable. So that is possible. So this type inference is not only depend on the value you assign, but also if you are initializing that variable by calling some function, for that as well it is going to identify what is the type of that variable. Okay, so this is about type inference. I hope you understood the concept. Now let's discuss about creating val type of declarations. So val equal to, for example, stock rate equal to stock rate is equal to, it's going to be a float type of value equal to 201.34f, or I can declare it without declaring its type. So val stock name equal to apple. Now in this case, as I mentioned, we cannot reassign the values. And another important point is value of val type of declarations can be initialized at compile time, or it can be initialized at runtime as well, but only once. So predicted price is equal to random dot next integer in the range, let's say 180 to 400 or 180 to 300. All right, so uh, let's try to assign the value to the stock name. So stock name equal to Google, sorry, stock name equal to Google. Now here you can see there is a compile time error, and error says that val cannot be reassigned. If you want to have that variable where you want to reassign the value, it is giving us a suggestion. Change its type to var declaration. All right. So once we assign the value to the val type of declarations, we cannot reassign it. And this initialization can take place at compile time, or it can take place at runtime as well. Over here, this is compile time initialization. This is also compile time initialization. But if you consider this statement, this is not compile time. This statement will be executed at runtime. Random.nextInt, this is an inbuilt function. So we are going to invoke this function and at runtime. And at runtime, the value of this predicted var price will be initialized. All right, so this is how we can create the val type of declaration. Basically, val is nothing but immutable. Once you assign the value, it cannot change. It cannot be changed at all. So let's try to print this value. Stock name, print ln, current price. Current price of that stock is dollar stock rate, and print ln predicted 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 price equal to dollar predicted price. Now if I run this program, so here you can see stock name is Apple, current price is 201.34 and predicted price is 292. So this is the example of initializing the value at compile time. This is the example of initializing the value at runtime. So points to remember: var are immutable. Var are mutable. You can reassign the values as many times as you want. Var can be initialized at compile time, at runtime, as many times as you want. Val, we should initialize it at, val cannot be reinitialized. Vals are immutable. Once you assign the value, it cannot be changed. Val can be initialized at compile time or at runtime, but only once. Specifying the data type to the variable is optional. Compiler will automatically identify what is the type of variable based on the value which is assigned to it. Let's move to the next discussion: how to declare constant. That's the point about var type of variables. Var type of variables are mutable. That is, once we declare variable of var type, its value can be changed anytime, as many times as we want. Val variables, so val types of variables are immutable. That is, once we assign value to a val type, its value cannot be changed at all. And val type of variables can be initialized at compile time or at runtime, but only once. These are the important points regarding var and val. So next is, let's discuss how to declare a nullable variable. In the previous video, I have shortly explained what is nullable variable and what is non-nullable variable. Just a quick recap: non-nullable are those variables which cannot store null values at all. So the previous variables, the previous syntax that we discussed, so these are the variables of type non-nullable type. So far, whatever variables we declared, these are non-nullable variables. Okay, so these non-nullable variables cannot store null values at all. Okay, let's try to store a null value in the non-nullable type of variable, and let's check what happens. So in my Android Studio, I'm going to assign value of null. So stock name, sorry, not to this one. Let's say product name product name equal to null. And now you can see there is a compile time error. There is a compile time error. You can check this one. Null cannot be a value of non-null type string. So this means that this product name which we declared, it is a non-nullable type of variable and it cannot store the null value. Okay, and even if I try to run this program, there will be compile time error. If I click on run, there will be a compile time error. See, null cannot be value of null type, Kotlin line number 32. So far whatever variables we have declared, those were non-nullable. Those cannot store the null value. But in our program, there can be many scenarios where we are interested to store either null value or non-null value in a variable. So at that time, what should we do? For that, we have a nullable variable declaration. We have a concept of nullable variable declarations. Let's try to understand how to declare nullable variables. First, let's understand the syntax. So to declare the nullable variable, there is a very minor change. So whenever you want to declare a variable of type nullable type, you have to mention, you have to specify question mark. You have to specify question mark, data type followed by question mark. So whenever you specify data type followed by question mark, it means that this is a nullable type of variable. Question mark after end data type indicates it is nullable type of variable. Let's try to understand it practically. So when you declare the variable of type nullable, then it is possible to store null value as well as non-null value. Let's try to understand it practically. Let's create a new file. Right click, new Kotlin class or file, nullable variables demo file, function main. I'm going to declare a variable where product name of type string, but I want to declare it as a nullable type of variable, hence I will put question mark at the end, equal to iPhone 17. So now I can print it. So println product name equal to dollar product name. All right, and now I want to store the null value. So here I will write product name equal to null. Now it is perfectly fine because we have declared the type of this variable of type nullable. So to make a variable nullable type of variable, we have to simply put this question mark at the end. We have to simply put this question mark at the end. So when you specify a question mark at the end of data type, it means that it is nullable type of declaration. And now if I try to print this value of product name, dollar product name, then it will be null. Right, let's see. So here you can see product name equal to iPhone 17, and after that we have assigned value null to that variable and we got the null value. So this is how you can declare the nullable variable, nullable type basically. So whenever you want to specify nullable data type, you have to simply add question mark at the end of the data type. So that this is how we can declare the nullable. So nullable are possible with both the type of declaration val or as well as var type of declaration. Next, let's discuss how to declare constants in Kotlin. So to declare the constant, we have to use const val declaration. const val followed by name of your constant followed by colon followed by data type equal to initial value. And as I mentioned, specifying data type for variable declaration or constant declarations, it is optional because of type inference. Alright, same is applicable to constants as well. There are some important points to remember or to understand about constant declaration. The first important point is constant should be initialized at compile time and it cannot be initialized at runtime. Whatever initial value we have to assign, it has to be assigned at compile time only. Second important point, const val is applicable only for byte, short, int, long, float, double, boolean, string, and char data types. Char data type. It is applicable for only byte, short, int, long, float, double, boolean, string, and char data types. We cannot declare object of type const val. We cannot declare array of type const val. Alright. The next important point is the const val has to be higher order declaration, higher level declaration. It means that const val cannot be declared as local property, class property. It cannot be declared as local variable. So const val can be declared in companion object or directly in the Kotlin file, that is outside of all classes or functions, or it can be a part of object declaration. In Kotlin, there is no such concept called as static variables or static functions, and hence the equivalent feature we have in Kotlin is companion object. Const val can be declared inside the companion object. It can be declared also inside the object declaration. In Kotlin, to declare a singleton class, we don't have to take extra efforts. We can simply create object declaration, and const val can be declared inside the object declaration as well. And it can be declared, const val can be declared directly in the file outside of all the functions and all the classes. So let's try to understand this concept practically, and I hope you understand the meaning of constant. So constants are the data declarations in which once we store the value, it cannot be changed at all. This seems, now you must be wondering, we have a val type of declaration. In that also we can have a value which cannot be changed later, and const val also seems similar, but there is a big difference. We are going to discuss a difference between var, val, and const val. All right. Before that, let's try to understand practically how to declare the const val type of declaration. For that, let's go to Android Studio. I'm going to create a new file, Kotlin class or file. Let's name this as const val demo. I'm going to create it as a file. So as I mentioned, if I create a main function, so main function, the first important part is const val cannot be declared inside the function. Const val, for example, pi of type float or double equal to 3.14. So you can clearly observe over here there is a warning, there is an error. Modifier const is not applicable to local variables. So as I mentioned, const val can be declared outside of all the outside of all the classes and all the functions. So this is one variation. Second variation is it can be declared it can be declared inside the companion object. So for example, over here, companion object, so const val bold size equal to 8. All right. So you cannot declare const val as a property. You cannot declare it as a property. Here I'm writing it as const val. So players player 1 of type string equal to John, and const val player 2 of type string equal to Mike. This is not possible. All right. So const val must be declared either outside of all the classes and functions, or it can be declared inside the companion object, or it can be declared inside the object expression. So here I am going to create object with name config, and here I will declare const val base underscore URL equal to https colon slash slash is the code .com slash ecom e-commerce slash. So this is how I can create the constant. So constant should be initialized at compile time. We cannot assign it at runtime. For example, const val difficulty level equal to random dot next. Let's assume that difficulty level is between 1 to 10. Okay, and here you can clearly see that const val initializer should be a constant value. It cannot be initialized at runtime. It cannot be, it should be a constant value. It should be a literal value. It cannot be a function call, because function call is going to be executed at runtime, and runtime initialization is not possible. All right. So this is also not possible. It can lead to compile time error. So what else? So const cannot be used for some array type of declaration. So, or it is applicable only for byte, short, int, long, float, double, string, char, and boolean type of variables. It is not applicable to some other type of variables. For example, I am going to create a class with name player, and in that I have val name of the player, string, val country of the player, country representing the country. And here I cannot have the const val player 1 equal to player name equal to, for example, Rahul, and country is, for example, India. So this is not possible. Const val cannot be used for object types. It is applicable to only the types which I mentioned earlier: byte, short, int, long, float, double, char, boolean, and string type of variable. So this is about const val, and as I mentioned, once we assign the value to the const val, it cannot be changed again. For example, chessboard dot board size equal to 45. So you can clearly see that the val cannot be reassigned. Val cannot be reassigned. That's the error message. Okay, so const val cannot be reassigned. So this is how we declare the constant variable. Sorry, this is how we create the constant in Kotlin. There is one more important point. So constant cannot be nullable types as well. I cannot write const val max of type integer nullable equal to 34. So const data types for our const declaration cannot be nullable as well. All right. So for const declarations, nullable types are not allowed. It has to be non-null values, non-nullable types. So these are the important points about const val and declaring the variable in Kotlin. In the interview, there is very frequently asked question, especially if you are being interviewed for entry level interview for Android developer role or any other role where Kotlin is being used. The question is very important and very simple. What is the difference between var, val and const val? So to answer this question, the proper way to answer this question is var is mutable type of declaration. It means that once we assign to a value to a var type of declaration, it can also be reassigned in the future as and when required. Val are immutable. It cannot be changed once assigned. Val can be initialized at compile time or it can be initialized at runtime as well. Whereas const val is also immutable and const val can be used only for byte, short, int, long, float, double, boolean, character, and string type of variables. Another difference between val and const val is const val has to be higher level declarations. It means that it cannot be declared inside the function, that is as a local variable. It cannot be declared as a class property. It cannot be declared as a parameter. So const val has to be declared either outside of all the functions and classes, or it can be declared inside the companion object, or it can be declared inside the object expression. Another important difference between val and const val is for val type of declaration, nullable data types are allowed, whereas for const val type of declarations, nullable values are not possible. These are the differences. The differences are listed for your reference over here. You can take a screenshot and you can note it down for your future references. That's all in this video. Let me know your comments. Let me know if you have any questions, any doubts. You can write it in the comment. If you like the video, please like and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.